I'm thinking over and over again about how terrible I am. I'm not a very good person. I hate myself. I think I'll go eat worms or whatever. If I allow myself to continue thinking that, then the universe brings me reasons to continue thinking that. Like, oh, you don't think you're very good? Okay, here's something that'll prove to you that you're not very good. The universe doesn't know one way or the other. It's just like, oh, that's what you want. Okay, we'll give you more of that. You can't just stop from drawing that to you in an instant. It's like a fast moving train, right? And so you have to slow the train down, and then you have to get to a place where you can turn it around, put it on a different track, and go down a new path. And sometimes that takes a little time to figure out how to train your mind. And basically that's what we're doing. We're training our mind to think differently. And so, you know, I remember catching a thought and thinking, wow, where did that come from? I can't believe I just thought that. And so I literally backtrack, like, oh, I thought that before that, and this before that, and this before that. And I backtracked those thoughts until I got to something that was like, talk about shadow. I'm like, where did that come from? I can't believe that was even in my mind. And it was a discovery, like, wow, there's hidden stuff in here. Just pay attention to what you're thinking. And that's one way of doing it, by backtracking, figuring out where the thought came from. And then when you hit that core thought, that core belief, you have to ask yourself, well, is that really true? That can't possibly be true because I have evidence in my life that that's not true. And then you can start tweaking your thoughts to something better and better. And eventually you get good at it, and you start raising your frequency and your vibration. And the more you do that, the better you get at it. And you don't need to go to a psychiatrist to do this. It's probably easier just to do it on your own. Find the quiet space. What do you think meditation is? It's just about being present, enjoying the space of nothingness. Like, you don't attach yourself to anything. You just look around, and a lot of people close their eyes, but you don't have to close your eyes to meditate. Meditation is about finding the quiet space where you're not thinking about how terrible you are, or how bad your job is, or how you don't like your wife or your husband. It's eliminating those thoughts for a moment and just put your attention on a thing. One thing is really what it comes down to, because your mind was designed to think. So to completely stop thinking is almost impossible. It's not impossible, but it's almost impossible. So you just put your attention on a thing, one thing. And, I sit at a chair in front of sliding glass doors, and I look out and I find something. Sometimes it's the clouds, sometimes it's the sun, sometimes it's a tree or a bird. And I just put all of my attention on that, and all the other thoughts disappear. And then there's a space, there's a gap in there. And that's what you're really looking for, is the gap between thoughts. So I may be having a thought about the bird, like, oh, isn't that beautiful? And just be in the moment with the feeling the beauty. So you're out of your thinking mind into the feelings, and you're like, oh, that's so beautiful. And you're just feeling the beauty of it. And then there's a gap that opens up. And inside the gap is no thought. And that's where God enters. That's why when we teach people to meditate, we're saying, close your eyes, put your attention on your breath, feel the breath in and out, right? Because you have one thought. That's one thought. You're not thinking about anything else, because you can't. When you put your attention on a thing, one thing, that's the only thing you're going to think about. And so you hold your attention on that one thing. And then you feel it, right? So I'm putting my attention on the breathing, and then I'm feeling the breath. Now I'm out of thought. So when you hit the high of the breath, right? You breathe in and you hold your breath just for a second. That's the gap. There's a gap in there. And that's when that divine intelligence can step in and give you the guidance, tell you what to do next. And sometimes, people are looking for these great, big, huge aha moments. And there are some of those, but typically it's a more simple thing. It's subtler. It's like, you need to do your laundry, and right? Or go do
But
dishes.
I love the way you explained that, and about that, the process. So Joe, how did that strike you? Is there anything you want to add to that?
I would encourage people to find a way that works for you. And if it stops working for you, try something else. Because I think too many people in the spiritual community stick with one technique and then they plateau somewhere and they don't go somewhere else, try something new. So I'd really suggest people to always try something new if something stops working for you. Because our brains are very complex and we are very complex, and one size does not fit all.